Welcome to the Clarityfor People podcast, where we talk about everything personal development, getting coached, and becoming a coach in the pursuit of growth and greatness. Here is your host, Martina Magnery.
Hi folks, Martina Magnery here. Today I'm going to talk about tolerance and how it factors into our personal development. When we apply the concept of tolerance to all areas of our lives, we will see how we're very tolerant in some areas and not others. And a general question to ask yourself to get started is, are you tolerating what you shouldn't be tolerating? This applies to your career, your friendships, colleagues, and personal relationships. It also applies to your income level, your living conditions, and it also applies to your level of satisfaction when it comes to your fitness. It all comes down to distinguishing the difference between low-grade dissatisfaction versus no big deals. And those no big deals, that mindset, it's not that bad, can escalate into low-grade dissatisfaction. But remember, over time, these small tolerances can accumulate, leading to a significant impact on your overall life satisfaction. So the big question is to ask yourself, where are you settling? And be curious about why. It may be the case that you tolerate bad behavior from people in the form of insults, belittling comments, negging. Now that's a good example. And for those who don't know what negging is, it's basically a backhanded compliment. It's an insult that's got an edge. Sometimes there's a comparative component to it where you're being compared to someone else, and it's very toxic and very harmful. It's sometimes used as a dating tactic, believe it or not, insulting someone to come across as more appealing. This covert style of insulting is often overlooked by many, and the receiver of all this is unable to see exactly what's going on here. That's why it's so insidious. They just tolerate it until it gets to a point where they feel pretty bad about themselves. So really understanding at a deep level what you're willing to tolerate and being curious about patterns. It could be with one particular individual and how they make you feel. Say, for example, one of your highest values is kindness. However, you find yourself tolerating behavior from a certain individual. If it continues, the consequences are that your self-esteem starts to erode. You start to distrust your own judgment and your self-worth plummets. You're tolerating behavior that's in conflict with your values. A good index to refer to is the Gottman ratio, 5:1. You can basically only withstand one piece of negative feedback for every 5 pieces of positive feedback in your personal relationships. This data emerged from 40 years of solid research on couples and what constitutes a happy, healthy relationship. Interestingly enough, though, you can withstand 1 piece of negative feedback for 3 pieces of positive feedback from a colleague or a boss. Anything less than this is considered unhealthy. If the person you are spending time with is highly critical or negative, there is a chemical reaction that happens within the body. Every time they raise their voice, use a belittling tone with you, or call you a name, they are chemically depleting serotonin from your body. Scientist and author of The Master and His Emissary, subtitled The Divided Brain and the Making of the Western World, Ian McGilchrist studied this chemical effect on the body. These types of negative words depleted the serotonin levels in the body that affect our mood. When you harm someone with your words, you are actually also affecting them at a somatic level. When exposed to constant criticism or negativity, our body reacts at a chemical level. Every harsh word, every raised voice doesn't just affect us emotionally, it depletes serotonin, a key neurotransmitter that affects our mood. When you stay in an environment where the word track is predominantly negative, you are harming yourself on a physical level. When someone is harming you in these toxic ways, you will feel the need to get as far away as possible so you can start to feel better. Some will go against their best judgment and sit in that space and continue to be abused and tolerate that behavior. So that mild discomfort turns into intolerance very often, where they, down the track, need to leave the relationship. It can happen after months or years, depending on your tolerance level and your level of awareness. Many of my clients tolerate this type of behavior because they experienced it in their family of origin and they have normalized it. They don't know any different. It's a download. All they know is they are miserable. Once they lift that veil of consciousness, they are able to build stronger boundaries in their relationships and shrink that window of tolerance for abusive behavior and toxicity. So enough about people. We've explored how tolerance plays out in personal relationships. But now let's shift our focus to the other critical areas of life: your career, your lifestyle, your personal achievements. What about your career? Are you tolerating a job just to get food on the table? Or are you pursuing your life's mission? Are you tolerating work conditions that are intolerable and toxic for your mental and physical health? What about your income level? Are you tolerating an income level that gets you through the week with nothing left over to spare? Or are you striving for something better and taking daily action? What is the height of the ceiling when it comes to your abundance level? Are you satisfied? Because if you're not, then complaining about it gets you nowhere. Sometimes we tolerate situations because we don't have enough faith in ourselves. We don't believe we deserve better, and this all happens at a subconscious level. Of course, we don't want to be too intolerant. We want to allow people to redeem themselves and reconcile, because everyone is on their own journey, and sometimes down the track, people realize they've made a mistake, done the wrong thing. Some are able to own their own stuff and are willing to come back and repair. Those who hold kindness as one of their highest values are more likely to be open to reconciliation, but being mindful, they're also likely to be repeatedly abused because of their kind hearts. So there's a very fine line there between what you are willing to tolerate and what you're not. If you can't trust your judgment when it comes to your tolerance levels, you may want to consider using EMDR therapy to help you get clear with what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. It helps with decision making. It helps with clearing past traumas and negative beliefs that are preventing you from moving forward in your life. It's amazing for processing betrayal, breakups, any type of big T trauma or small t trauma. It is an extremely useful tool for allowing you to get into alignment with your values and increase the ceiling of abundance in your finances, relationships, all sorts of good stuff. I do see clients one-on-one, but I actually train clients how to do EMDR on themselves, self-administered EMDR. That way, you've got these tools for life. Once you learn how to do it, you can do it whenever, wherever, and you can use it regularly to get super duper clear with your life vision, with your mission, with what you want in relationships, in your career. It helps with your motivation to get fit and healthy. You name it, you can use EMDR for just about anything. It's the gold standard of protocols when it comes to emotional mastery. There's one gross misconception, and that is that EMDR therapy is only to be used to process trauma. That is totally incorrect, and I use it on a regular basis. I use it to make better decisions. I use it to desensitize any negative belief criteria I have at any given moment. If I've had a bad day and I want to get some relief, I get my light bar out and I do a session on myself. So I believe I walk the talk. I always try to convince my clients to use EMDR therapy when possible, even if they haven't heard about it before, because I know you get better results than just talk therapy. So I train my clients now to do self-administered EMDR. I mean, it's always good to have a therapist, but sometimes you just want fast results. And if you can spend 15-20 minutes here and there, you have the ability to do EMDR on yourself at your convenience. My light bar and pulses have been the most significant purchase I've ever made, the most valuable thing that I've ever bought. That's why I endorse EMDR therapy and self-administered EMDR. I fondly remember hearing this quote, and without remembering it word for word, it was basically stating that psychotherapists were going to heal the world. It totally resonated with me, and even more so now, because I truly believe that if everyone had their very own light bar and pulses and they learnt how to use it properly, they got the guidance to use one, then they would solve a lot of their own problems. They would feel less distressed in their environment, in their world, and that would contribute to a ripple effect throughout the globe. So, my mission is to train as many people as I can to do this for themselves, because as they say, you can catch the fish or you can teach people to catch fish. I want to teach people to catch the fish. I want to teach people to be empowered. I want to teach people to be the kings and queens of their own personal growth. Of course, with guidance, but something that you can do on a regular basis for yourself is EMDR therapy. And I believe if the whole world did that, it would just be such a nicer place. If you want to know how to do this, just go to Clarityfor.com, self-administered EMDR coaching, and find out more about how you can do this for yourself. Getting back to the subject of tolerance. Thinking about tolerance in all aspects of our lives. Looking at the areas where we're intolerant and the areas where we're not tolerant enough. There's no right or wrong, but getting to know who you truly are, taking that journey of personal growth, you will see that you'll get so clear with what you can and can't tolerate. Your boundaries will be so strong, and also being mindful to give people second chances because they're on their personal journey and they're always growing too. We kind of have to do this mental inventory. Just understand the differences between the no big deals and the low grade dissatisfactions and the intolerable situations. What are your deal breakers? What are your non-negotiables? And what are your negotiables? Keeping in mind your best life, your life vision, and your highest values. When you can do this, then it makes it so easy to make these decisions and to see things that other people can't see. I'm talking about your blind spots. Everyone has them. Without shaming or blaming anyone, we can all improve in that area. So again, circling back to what I said earlier, in life, you get what you tolerate. So if you're tolerating situations and people that you shouldn't be tolerating, stop tolerating. It's Martina Magnery here signing out. I hope you join us on the next podcast. Until then, ciao.
Thank you for listening. If you found value in today's episode, hitting the like or subscribe buttons or by leaving a comment is a great way to support our channel. For more info on our evidence-informed coaching programs and coaching certifications, go to Clarityfor.com. and sign up for our newsletter.